All right, y'all. Welcome back here to another episode of the Easy Money Sports Podcast. Once again, of course, me myself as always. Sanders here. Got my boy Dupree here with me.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. What's going on with you, bro?
Man, can't complain, bro. Just just living the dream, man. Just hope everybody had a good and happy Memorial Day weekend, man. Hope y'all enjoyed yourselves.
Yeah,
Y'all stayed safe.
yeah.
Enjoyed the good
I
food.
hope y'all
Or
enjoyed y'all cookouts because it rained all
yeah.
weekend in North Carolina. So
Oh, that's tough.
sitting in
That's
the house,
tough.
it didn't stop raining till 6 o'clock yesterday, 6:30.
That's
It
tough.
rained all weekend,
Ooh,
and it wasn't like a crazy downpour. It
yeah.
was like that annoying rain where it's not heavy, but it's just enough to where if you outside, you're like, yeah, nah, bro, I'm out. You feel me? Like I'm out.
Was it going on and off? Was it going on and off, or it
Nah,
was like it was just consistent
it was consistent. It was
for
consistent.
sure?
Yeah, it wasn't nothing too crazy. And it was like it just sat like Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. It was just here like all weekend. So it was like, all right, well, we in the crib with it. So,
Tight,
we in the crib with it.
tight, man, tight. But
Yes.
man, we had a crazy, crazy, crazy Memorial Day weekend, man. Because honestly, I didn't think we was gonna get this far, man. I thought we'd be done before the weekend got here.
Mm-hmm.
And all of a sudden, man, Boston turned it around and hit three straight on Miami to force that game seven. But man, wild as it seems, it seemed like it was just kind of lined up. Like, okay, they done won three straight like this
Mm-hmm.
and then the way that they won game six, you was like, oh yeah,
This is
Miami probably done for.
yeah.
I don't know how you come back from that.
Mm-hmm.
But man, they get the job done. I think it was 103-84.
Yeah.
Game seven victory in the guard, man. Not too many people win a game seven in the Boston guard, man. Usually, if it's game seven there, dude, it's closed curtains. They
Yeah.
usually come out on top, but uh, Miami, one of the rare times that has happened in playoff history, goes into Boston in game seven, get the dub, man. Um, win the series, and now they become with this new play in that has happened. They're now the first team from the play in to make it to the NBA Finals, and now just the second eight seed to make it to the NBA Finals. Even though I really want to say they the first, because the first one was that short '99
Yeah.
season where the
With the
Knicks
Knicks.
went there, but I'm gonna let them have that. So it's cool. I'm gonna let them have that because I don't. This might mess around the surface out the New York Twitter,
They're
New
not
York
they're
Knicks
not
Twitter
gonna
in
let
there,
you
and then
yeah, they're not gonna let you take it away.
woo,
They're not gonna let you take
boy,
that away.
boy.
Nah.
So I'm gonna let them have it. But yeah, the second eight seed, man, to make it to the finals, and I mean that's just a crazy, amazing feat,
Mm-hmm.
for sure, man. Bro, what was your thoughts about what happened in that game seven, bro?
I mean, I was expecting to be a lot closer than what it was. Obviously, the elephant in the room with Jason Tatum getting hurt on that first play, coming down and rolling his ankle, definitely didn't help. Uh, but that he still had to go in there and win that game. And I don't. The narrative around the game has been, well, Jason Tatum got hurt, so maybe the Heat still win, but it's closer. Or but you got a guy in Jason Tatum who was first team All NBA, who was averaging 28 points a game. If he doesn't get hurt, maybe the game goes a different way. Maybe the Celtics do win, but the Heat still had to go in there and win the game, and that's what they did. Jason Tatum being rolling his ankle and being hurt doesn't change the fact or it does not excuse the Celtics from losing by 19 points on their home floor in a closeout game seven Eastern Conference Finals we have a trip to the NBA Finals on the line. That doesn't excuse them because Jason Tatum rolled his ankle. Obviously, that hurts, but Jaylen Brown didn't play well. Marcus Smart. It's a team game. Malcolm Brogdon was non-existent the whole series. But just specifically talking about Game 7, I saw something earlier, and I totally agree with. In that second half, when the Celtics tried to close the gap and potentially make it a single-digit ball game, um, one man who was on fire last night, Caleb Martin, found a way to come down and hit a three or hit a big shot or whatever it was. He found a way to make a play and extended the lead back to double digits, back to 11, back to 13, back to whatever it was. And that crowd in there was rabid. And anytime you kind of felt the Celtics gaining some momentum, they were hushed by the Heat. Whether it was Caleb Martin, excuse me, Kyle Lowry hit a couple big shots. Obviously, Jimmy Butler hit a couple big shots. But the turnovers, once again, plagued the Celtics in this Game 7 as well. I don't understand the lapses that they have. You talking about, like you said, the last show that we did, we both picked the Heat to get to the finals because of the inconsistent play that the Celtics had. And then you go to Game 4 and Game 5, and they just blow the doors off the Heat. And then you find a way to win Game 6. That was a great game. And you find a way to win at the end. And like you said, you're expecting for the Celtics to come out. Like you said, it's hard to win a Game 7 at the at TD Garden like that. And I don't know. I don't know that they have one of those games. 84 points. 84 points is not going to cut it in today's NBA. Maybe if it was back in the 80s, the 90s, maybe. But 2023, that's not going to cut it. And so I want to give a lot of credit to the Miami Heat because I don't think that they're getting a lot of credit today about winning that game, going there and winning it. Like I said, I believe most of the talk is about Jason Tatum being hurt, Jaylen Brown not playing as well, even Joe Mazzulla. People aren't really giving credit to the Heat for going in there and winning that basketball game. And they deserve a lot of credit because that was tough to do. And they pulled it off and did it. So disappointing for the Celtics for sure. I believe I picked them to come out of the East this year to repeat, and they made it all to the Eastern Conference Finals. But there's a reason why teams are 151 and 0 now when they're up 3-0. Like it's tough. We say it in football all the time. Like it's tough to beat a team 2 times in the season, and then if you got to play them in the playoffs, it's tough to beat a team 3 times in the season. But to beat a team 4 times in a row, that's rough. So they just found that out this weekend.
Yeah, that's not an easy task. Because pretty much you exerted all types of energy just to get you back into that
Mm-hmm.
situation, for sure. But I agree with you, bruh. I think, which pretty much really when the game went off last night, um, I might have stayed and listened to about 10, 15 minutes of the post game
Mm-hmm.
for Inside the NBA. But today, man, I haven't. The next following day here, I haven't listened to anything from First Take, from Undisputed, from none of that because I just know for a fact that the narrative was gonna be, which I tweeted out last night, was, well, is it time to break it up in Boston? Well, what,
Mm-hmm.
Jason Tatum getting hurt, and it's just
Mm-hmm.
like, I really don't want to. I'm like, I don't want to hear it because I'm like, that's not the narrative we should be going with because it's pretty much kind of what SVG, which is that's Stan Van Gundy for those who may
Mm-hmm.
not know, what he said during the broadcast in the game 7. You can say what you want to say about Tatum's ankle being hurt that first play of the game, but if you want to go with the injury excuse, Miami is missing pretty much a 20 point scorer
Yeah,
in Tyler Hero. You know
yeah,
what I'm saying?
the whole playoffs.
Hadn't played what since the beginning of game 1 of the first round.
Something, yeah.
Oh,
Whatever it
pretty much
was.
pretty much the whole playoffs had
Yeah,
been out. Folks just ruled him out of the playoffs because they probably didn't think that they was gonna be this far. And now the fact that he's targeted and got a chance to, I think Chris Haynes reported it. I think game 3 is kind of the target. Maybe he's looking at to come back and play for in the final. So I mean, if we want to go with the injury excuse here, I mean Miami has kind of more of a case than they do
they
than
lost.
Boston does.
They
Really, I
lost
mean
him and
there's no
Victor
Tyler Hero,
Oladipo.
no Oladipo. Yeah,
Yeah,
no Oladipo. I mean, I don't see I don't see how you could try to excuse that from one side and not for the other. So
yeah,
I think it's more so you definitely have to give credit to Miami for really willing themselves, even though, like I said, it was a blowout, but for real, just willing themselves to win that game because I feel like most other teams, what happened to them on game 6, I feel like most other teams probably would have not been able to get themselves together in 48 hours
hmm
to get that game 7, just depending on what's going on. Because, I mean, we've seen it multiple times. I mean, you seen it where the with the Cavs coming down 3-1, and then you seen it where Ray Allen hits that big shot
hmm
in the finals in that game 6, to where it's like, okay, that's kind of no way that they not gonna win that next game. Now it's kind of it's a wrap. Like all hope could have been lost, man, but
hmm
they found the way. That Heat culture is something serious, bro. That's
Yeah,
something
that's a real
serious, and
thing.
that's a real thing, bro. And like I said, people also want to say about how Tatum being hurt, Jaylen Brown not playing well, blah blah blah. But I mean, Caleb Martin, bro, what he had 25, 26 points.
Yeah,
I mean,
26. Yeah.
if he don't have pretty much the game of his life, the previous here in this game, like now that's a different outcome probably,
hmm
because I mean, he had a heck of a game. I mean, but outside of him and Jimmy, I mean, everybody else was kind of,
Yeah, kind of
I mean,
hit or
Bam,
miss.
yeah, Bam only what Bam barely mustered up a double double, I
hmm
think.
Yeah,
Uh,
he's got it. We'll talk about him. Yeah, I got to talk. Yeah,
we're gonna get to him. We're gonna get to him for sure. But I mean, yeah, I mean, I don't see it no other way other than just really. I think it should be more so giving the Heat the credit that's due for them, and instead of trying to make up the excuses for Boston, which, like you said, which is gonna be the injuries, which is gonna be well, somebody didn't play well.
hmm
Oh well, they had the drama from the beginning of the year with Coach Udoka, and now Missoula took over, and blah blah blah, and it's just like, yeah, so I
yeah.
mean,
It's still the same team.
yeah, I
It's
mean,
the same squad.
it's pretty much the same
All
squad
you did
from
was add
the final
Malcolm
from the
Brogdon.
run.
You just
That's
added
it.
Malcolm
It's the
Brogdon.
same
That's it.
squad. So I mean, you know, I don't know, man. But as far as to me, going on to it, to me, as far as what to do with Boston and that question that's probably gonna be blowing up, folks, is what do they do? Like, do you blow it up? Is the championship window gone? I think people react a little too quick after losses when teams are
hmm
eliminated. I think I think that I feel like that happens every time a team is eliminated or one of those top teams are eliminated. I feel like that happened with Memphis when they got out of the first round, saying, "Well, they talked a lot, they talked too much." Well, I mean, they were missing two of their bigs. I mean, who knows how the series could have went?
Yeah.
Or when when Golden State lost, it's like, oh, the it's over with, blah blah blah. I was like, well, hold on, pump the brakes now. They still got Steph, they still got Clay.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jake Jordan Poole didn't have a good series, but it's still there. Let's hold your horses.
Yeah.
Milwaukee is losing to an AC. They are terrible. What? Giannis didn't play majority of that series. Like I feel like the overreaction to when a team is eliminated is just to me it's just way too much too soon.
Yeah,
So I don't know about you, but for me, I don't think they should blow it up. I think it works. I think it's coaching. I don't think it's nothing with the players. I think it's coaching because I don't think they had a coach where even with Udoka maybe I don't know. I just feel like that they just kind of which Chuck kind of went into it and alluded to it last night. Charles Barkley, kind of saying how like you know I feel like there's nothing like there's no structure over
hmm,
there as far as like when they're running plays or
yeah,
trying to do this one. But I feel like it's just all right. We got JB, we got JT. We can ISO y'all to death and get these buckets or penetrating kick and somebody hit a three and that's it. Instead of like really having something there. So I don't think you blow it up with the players. I think you give JB his money. Now, is he a super max? That's neither here nor there for me to discuss. That's
yeah.
whatever Boston want to do with that money. He's eligible for it, being making all NBA. So it is what it is. But I don't think you break it up. I don't think you break it up. So how do you what you think about Boston, bro?
Yeah, I don't think you break it up either. I think it's too soon. You got two guys who are all NBA, two young guys. You're talking about Jaylen Brown being 26, Jason Tatum being 25. You got two young studs that you can continue to build around. I'm hesitant to say that obviously Missoula has something to do with it. Obviously, I don't agree with a lot of the backlash, some of the thrashing, for lack of a better term, that he has gotten from the media, from the public. Does he deserve some of it? Yes. Has he made some mistakes? Yes. But he's a young coach, first year. He got thrown like all this stuff with Ime Udoka happens, and he gets thrown into the fire. Boom, you're now the new head. Didn't give him the interim tag. Like, no, you're the head coach, and
Right.
we go from there. And so that's a lot to be had as a young first time head coach. And you have the expectations that the Boston Celtics had when you were just in the finals to get back to the finals. Um, you lost your head assistant, all the stuff that goes on. You lost your head assistant. He went to go be the head coach at Georgia Tech. Like a lot of things transpired to get to this point. People have to give him credit, though. Yeah, as bad as it was for the Celtics for them to be down 3-0, they also came back and tied it up 3-3. So to well, my point is it's a little bit of both. As a coach, yeah, I'm supposed to get you ready. I'm supposed to have you prepared, whatever plays, mentally, all that stuff that goes. I gotta have you prepared mentally, physically, all that stuff, motivation, all those different things. Once you're out there on the floor, though, that's it. Now there's certain things you managing. Once you get into the game, it's more management, timeouts, substitutions, adjustments, things like that. But once you're out there on the court, you're playing. You're playing. And so I don't think it's time for them to blow it up. I think you do pay Jaylen Brown. The thing with Jaylen Brown is going to be, does he want to be in Boston anymore? There's a lot of speculation, at least that I've seen, that maybe he doesn't want to be in Boston, or you got all these pages, all these. I'm a Hawks fan, so all these Atlanta fans. He's from Georgia. He's from Atlanta with the Wheelers. So all these, coming, have him coming back to to Atlanta to play for the Hawks and all that type of stuff. So that has to get figured out. Like you said, do you pay him the super max? I would pay him the super max. Um, I mean, once again, young, up and coming guy, all NBA. He's a part of your 1-2 punch. Did he wet the bed? Game 7? Yes, he admitted to it. Our JT was hurt. My team was looking to me. I didn't deliver. It happens. He's young. Like it happens. Um, but I don't think you blow it up. I don't think Joe Mazzulla should lose his job either. I think you bring this court back. There does need to be some more structure as far as plays and things like that. I think that'll come with Mazzulla um, being more seasoned, but they have to find a way to cut down on the lapses. I don't understand. Like it's almost to me like they get in those lulls because they believe they are such a great team. They can just do whatever and
Mm-hmm.
we'll figure it out. And you haven't gotten there yet. You're not obviously you see what happens. You're not good enough to have those lulls and those lapses, those highs and those lows, and be able to come back from it. Yeah, you dug yourself into a 3-0 hole. It wasn't enough to win four straight, like it hasn't been for any other team in the NBA that's gotten down 3-0. So um, I think you stick with it. Um, if you add a piece here or there, I think I think that'd be good. What they need to add, um, I'm not sure. Um, maybe you do something at the point guard position. Maybe you try to find another answer. Maybe Marcus Smart isn't the guy, but I don't see him going anywhere. Do you? Do you? I don't. I don't know. I don't know. I think the biggest thing for the Celtics is those mental lapses. You saw it throughout the whole playoffs versus the Hawks, versus the Sixers, and then in this series. I don't know if they have too many holes on their roster. Really, they just they have spurts in games and in singular games, and they have spurts of games where it's like you have no clue who this team is anymore. And I think that's the biggest issue that they have to go soul searching and figure out why that is and what they can do to combat that type of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, but all in all, man, I mean, I, once again, I know Boston is kind of almost like LA, man. You know, some of their fans feel like if it ain't the championship, it's a failure of a season.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, I mean, once again, what this is what their what fourth time going to the conference finals.
The Celtics.
Yeah, three out of and then what 3 out of the last 4 years because what they went 2018, they
Yep.
lost in seven. The
Yep.
the bubble in 2020,
Mm-hmm.
lost to Miami, and then you come back in 22 and beat Miami, and then this past year. So I mean, they've been in the conference tournament. You know,
Who did
I mean
Milwaukee beat
conference.
in 21?
Uh, that's a good question. Who was it?
Was it not Boston?
No, it was Atlanta.
I'm tripping. Oh, don't
Remember, cause
remind me of that.
cause
Yeah.
yeah, cause I
Oh,
want to say Boston got out that first round
they lost
to
to.
Brooklyn. Was it Brooklyn?
Yep, I think it was Brooklyn.
I
Brooklyn
think
lost
Brooklyn
to.
got them.
Yep, and
Brooklyn
Brooklyn
got them
lost
in the
to
first round,
Milwaukee.
and
Yep,
yeah,
it was the Hawks.
yeah. So you know,
Hmm.
tight man. Nah, I feel that.
Uh,
I feel you, bro. I ain't mean to do you like that.
I'm for sure sitting there.
Oh
I'm like,
man,
hey man, who did Milwaukee play? Yeah,
facts.
DeAndre
Yeah,
Hunter
it
was
was.
hurt
Yeah,
and
it
all
was.
that. Yeah, man,
Yeah,
that
man.
was a good run, man. All right, let's keep going. Because I can already
But
hear one person. I can hear one person in my head right now. Do you remember that they played? Do you remember that they played in the Eastern Conference Finals? Yeah. So yeah, we can move on. I
man,
can hear his
look,
voice right now.
man, I already know, bro. I already know, but we'll see, and you know it is what it is now. But hey, we getting ready here, bro. This week, come Thursday, it'll be
Mm-hmm.
game one of the NBA Finals,
Yes,
and
sir.
man, I think obviously it's probably I don't think this was the matchup people were expecting,
Nope.
um, but I think it's gonna be in some parts. I think it's gonna be a great matchup, man, for sure. I think it's just gonna be a lot of I think it's just gonna be a lot of just pure basketball being played. No
Mm-hmm.
antics, no theatrics. I mean, probably as the series goes along, you know, something may come about, but
Yeah.
you know, it doesn't seem, you know, this. you got one team who has a history in a way of at least getting to the finals. I think this is what Miami's what sixth, seventh,
I believe it's their
maybe. I don't
sixth or
know.
seventh. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
like
believe
sixth or
seventh.
seventh. Let's see what, because you got '06, the four straight they went from what 2011 to 14, and then you got 20. Yeah, so it's their six. It's their six NBA Finals, man. So they as a franchise they've been there before. They know, but this is the Denver Nuggets' first NBA Finals appearance. So,
Hmm.
um, and I think this is, man, it's probably the most disrespected one seed in a
Yeah,
minute, man.
yeah.
I think because people might, I don't know, people might have thought that maybe Phoenix could catch them,
Hmm.
because with all who they got, and they're like, oh well, whoever they face between Golden State and LA, which I thought that was crazy to say, but I don't know. It's just kind of like people was waiting for like Denver to just be like, dog, this is Denver Nuggets, and they gonna fall off and they
Yeah.
won't make it, and they'll be a disappointing one seed. But I mean, we know, me and you've been talking about Denver really all year, bro. We've been like, that is a team, bro.
Yeah.
Like a team. Like I feel like the guys that they got that's part of that, 7, 8 man rotation, even
Hmm.
that ninth and 10th man could go somewhere else and start. Like it's
Yeah, they got some
like
boys over there.
literally, man. Probably for sure, probably the deepest team. This is after they made some trades. They
Hmm.
got rid of some guys, but man, you got Denver, Miami, what I'm saying, two highly competitive teams, man. It's gonna be, I think it's gonna be a good one, man. What's some matchups that you can't wait to see between these two teams, man, in this NBA final series?
Can't wait to see Jimmy Butler versus Jamal Murray.
That's gonna be nice.
Want to see what Jimmy Butler does. Because Bam, 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 out of bio. He's gonna. He's a great defensive player. He's gonna do what he does. You can't stop Jokic. Let's just start right there. You're not stopping him. You're not stopping him. Like I believe in I think it was it game two? It might have been game two of the Western Conference Finals. I believe he had 23 points. So that was like his one of his lowest point totals throughout the whole playoffs was 23 points, but he still had a double double or triple double, whatever it was. I think he still had like a triple double. So even when he doesn't go for the 30 plus points, he still finds other ways to affect the game. And he's going to affect the game because of who he is and the variety of ways he can affect the game. So he's going to do what he's going to do. Bam has to find a way to try to maybe slow him down. Jamal Murray and Jimmy Butler is a totally different case. I'm not saying that Jimmy Butler can shut down Jamal Murray, but he's going to try his damnedest to do so. Because if the Heat are going to have a chance to win this series, someone else has to be neutralized because it's not going to be Jokic. So Jamal Murray can't get off. You can't let um, Bruce Bowen come off the bench and go crazy. I was Aaron Gordon, Michael Porter Jr., like those guys. But Jamal Murray to me is the key in this series for the Heat. And so that matchup between him and Jimmy Butler is going to be big time. Um, and then really just, I guess, for role players versus role players, like the Heat role players versus the Nuggets role players, like what guys are going to show up consistently throughout the series to help their team win. Both sets of guys have showed up throughout the entire playoffs, and in a big way helped their team get to where they are. But will the Nuggets guys have a lapse, or will the Heat guys will they cool off? What does that look like? But I think the biggest matchup is Jimmy Butler and Jamal Murray, because I think that's who Jimmy Butler is going to draw. I think he's going to draw the matchup with Jamal Murray, and can Jamal Murray keep cooking, or will Jimmy Butler find a way to slow it down? But I think that's the biggest matchup. The Heat have to find a way to cool off and slow down Denver's offense, or they have to find a way to score 130 points a game. Because I don't, I don't, I don't see, I don't see a game where both teams don't have 100 points, or where both teams, where neither team doesn't have 100 points. Like someone's scoring 100. And so if you can find more ways to slow down that Denver offense, maybe that'll help. But they said Denver comes at you in just waves and waves because of the depth and because of the shooting and all the guys that they have. They can just keep coming and coming and coming and coming. Can the Heat find a way to slow some of that down, get some stops, slow the game down, get some good open shots? Can their guys keep hitting shots? But Jimmy Butler, Jamal Murray, that's the one.
Yeah, that's for me. That's definitely for sure the one. I mean, just because, and this is no disrespect to none of the guards that Jamar Murray has faced throughout the Western Conference playoffs, but
Hmm.
this is gonna be probably his toughest defensive draw that he
Yeah,
has
I
coming
would
up. I
agree.
mean,
Yeah.
like I said, I'm not trying to disrespect, like I'm not trying to disrespect like Ant. I'm not trying to disrespect Ant or
Hmm.
Book or none of them guys or whoever else might have drew him or D'Angelo Russell, none of them. But I mean, just those three guys alone I named. I mean, you don't think about them really being good defenders. I mean, you know what I mean?
Hmm.
Like they known for getting their buckets, when they own. So now you're gonna have a guy that's strictly 2A, one of the better 2A players we got in the league.
Hmm.
Uh, I mean, at this point now, I think you got to put him up there as one of the superstars in the league. Now at this point, but that is gonna be his toughest draw defensively for sure. Um, and just wanting to see like if Jamal Murray does kind of have that type of game where was that game two where like he couldn't buy a bucket. It seemed like the first three quarters.
Yep. It was game
Uh,
two. Yep.
we where he couldn't buy a bucket the first three quarters, and all of a sudden the fourth he just like turned in like you said, can Miami withstand those waves? Because
Yeah.
it's like Denver just come at you in bunches, bro. Like in bunches. Because I think we all in agreement. Like what I'm saying, I got a couple homies and people that I know who are like diehard Miami Heat fans, and they talking their cash after they just won
Hmm.
Game 7, and I was like, hey, look though, who guarding Jokic?
That's the thing. Like, you look at the game last night, they were like, yeah, the Miami has Mike Breen. I'm not Mike, excuse me, Kevin Harlan. That's my guy. I can't believe I said Mike. Kevin Harlan and Stan Van Gundy and Rich. They were like, yeah, the Heat have their small lineup in the game. They were like, yeah, well, Miami isn't that big with their big lineup in the game either. It's like Bam is like Bam Adebayo. How tall is Bam? Bam might be what was
What
6'10".
6'10" maybe? Yeah, 6'10".
So you don't have us like you're not putting K Love on them. And Zeller, I mean, maybe you play some more Zeller, but you don't have the size Michael Porter Jr., 6'10", Aaron Gordon, 6'10", like 6'9", 6'9", 6'10". Like, it's some
Length.
big dudes.
That starting five is crazy length. I mean, what your two shortest guys is probably KCP and Murray.
Hmm.
So
Exactly. So, like you said, who's going to, like, Bama's going to draw, he's going to draw, Bam 6'9". They have him listed at 6'9". Like, he's going to draw Jokic, but you giving up size to him. So,
yeah, I don't know, man. That's the matchup. That's the matchup for sure. I'm looking for, and then same thing you mentioned about too, as far as like with the role players, just because I feel like the role I feel like the superstar players help you win the series.
hmm.
Role players help you get those one or two games where it's like, man, if they don't do this, then this could be going the other way. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? Who is it going to be? We know that Jokic is probably gonna get his, and maybe to a certain extent, you could say the same thing for Jimmy Butler. But like if it's let's just say there's Bam is having a night like he had Game 7, like will we see Caleb Martin come
Hmm.
and have the type of performance that he have, or Gabe Vincent or Max Strus, where they are just they lighten it up from three. You know what I mean? Or Kyle Lowry in those 15, if he
Hmm.
can give you 15 minutes and it's like solid,
Yeah.
that could make a difference. Bruce Brown, he could pop out for another 25 that he had like in early in the playoffs at one point or something like that. I mean, and like we talked about Michael Porter Jr. and Aaron Gordon.
Hmm.
Those guys are capable. KCP too. All guys are capable enough to, if they feeling it and they putting the ball in the basket. You can sit up there and say, oh well, Jokic only got 19, 11, and 8, but and you're like, oh, well, that's cool. But then you look up and it's like, oh man, Michael Porter Jr. went out for 25, and it's just like, what can you do? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, what can you do? So to me, I think that's gonna be the key, man. Is which one of those, those guys who can be an X factor can pretty much, get their team a game that'll get them closer and closer to pretty much holding up the Larry O'Brien Trophy here in
Hmm.
the next couple of weeks or so. So it's definitely gonna be interesting to see. Uh, you know, solid guys, man. Solid coaches. I mean, Mike Malone,
Yeah.
Eric Spoelstra, like these are some gonna be some good things, man. I can't wait to see what adjustments are gonna be made and everything like that too, man. It's gonna be a good series, but that's what I'm looking forward to. And then I'm right there with you. I don't know if any team will necessarily get under. I'd be shocked if a team was under 100. The over, if I was willing to bet, I think the over might be a play the whole series, just
Think
because.
so?
I mean, unless a game ends up being blowout city, like a game 2 or game 3 ends up being like a
Hmm.
blowout city or something like that, man. I think other than that, it might be a shootout. You know, the one thing I guess I am looking forward to, especially for game 1, is the fact that what it's been probably a little over a week, two
That's a
weeks or
good
so
point. I thought
maybe
about that
since
too.
Denver has played. What was
Yep.
the 22nd? So it's been over a week. Yeah, it'll be basically about a week and a half
Hmm.
since they last played, and then of course with Miami just playing on Monday, I know that may not necessarily it's a thing, but I know it's more of a thing in football than it is in basketball. But that rest over rust, like
Hmm.
what's gonna happen. The fact that Denver got done in 4, and then Miami had to go to 7. So like, is with game 1, do you feel like with Miami coming there and they still kind of get it flowing, or is Denver going to start out slow
Yeah.
and everything like that or whatever? So that's going to be one thing I'd be interested to see into, just because it's been a minute since they've played a game. I mean, I'm pretty sure they've been out practicing and running through
Hmm.
stuff, staying in condition and everything like that, getting themselves together, man. But it's a totally different ball game when you really got to go out there and do it. So
Yep.
that's definitely gonna be interesting to see, man. Um, I don't know if you came up to a conclusion yet. I have though.
I
Who you
I went.
got? Who you got? Who you got
Nah,
winning the series,
let
man?
me let me hear what you got first, man.
You want me to go? That's cool. That's
Yes.
cool. I'll go. Miami has been a great run. I understand nobody saw this coming. I don't, unless you were a Heat fan. Even if you were a Heat fan, you was probably like, I don't know, but we
Hmm.
you was probably like, oh, we could push Milwaukee to 6, and then it's like
Yeah.
you win that, and then I'm pretty sure at that point you was like, oh, we can go to the conference finals, and then you get there and you like, oh, we up 3-0, yeah, we going to the chip. So I'm like, whatever, but they'll make it a series. But I got the Nuggets in 6. I don't
Okay.
I don't some people are being a little too disrespectful, saying that Denver could possibly sweep them or even say 5. I I think that's gonna be tough just because that though that Miami team is pretty much like one of them annoying ass gnats you just can't get rid of.
Hmm.
So they gonna push them. They gonna push them to 6, and I think they find a way to get 2. And I honestly, I wouldn't even be surprised if one of the 2 they got they stole off in Denver.
Yeah,
I wouldn't be shocked if they do that. Just because I mean at this point they've won on the road in
yeah.
every at least once in every series they've been in. So I know for a
Hmm.
fact that they're capable of doing that. So I wouldn't even be shocked that they even got one of these first 2 in Denver and everything like that. But I just think in the end it's just gonna be too much Jokic. Um and if you can just get Jamal Murray to just have one of those type of games where he's on for 1 or 2 games, and then all of a sudden you look up and you see Michael Porter Jr. ain't missed a shot, or KCP done hit like 4 threes, and all of a sudden it's just like, okay, maybe this team is too much. Like, even though Miami got the guys too, is just think maybe it's just too much. And I think in the
Hmm.
end, um, I just think it's their year, bro. Like I said, we talked about Denver. It's like we talked about them, but I don't think we ever really just said that they was like
I
the
picked
the
Golden
team
State to
to
make it back
beat.
to the
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
I
Like I
picked
don't
Golden
think we
State to
ever.
make it back to the finals.
Yeah. I don't say I don't think we thought like they would be here in the finals, but then like we recognize like how good of a team they were. So
Hmm.
you know, maybe it's their year, maybe it's their time, man. So I'm going with the Nuggets in 6. I got Nuggets in 6.
What I will say is I will be glad to see one of these two superstars get their first ring, whether it be Jokic or Jimmy Butler. Um, man, my head is saying pick the Nuggets, but for Jimmy Butler and the Heat got me. I don't know what it just the fight that they have. Like they got me believing. Like man, they can even with everything that's going on with the mismatch with Jokic and all these guys that they like. This is Denver. Hear me out. Denver is who we expected Boston to be.
Mm. Okay.
Denver is who we expected Boston to be in the sense of a two bona fide stars on the team, Jokic and Jamal Murray, role players all over the place. You got length, you got defense, you got guys coming off the bench that play well, and they do it consistently all the time. That's who we expected Boston to be. Boston is a deep team that's talented, has their two super, their two stars on their team, has their defensive players, their role players. The Denver is just more consistent. So in that respect, I believe that Miami will be ready for that aspect, some of the depth and the 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 rotation and the guys that Denver can throw at them. Um, I just don't know if Miami is going to be able to score with Denver. That is my concern. I don't know because that zone is not going to work against Denver. Jokic is too good of a basketball player. He's going to go to the middle of the floor. Like he's going to go set screens. He's going to be in the middle of the floor. They're going to bust up that zone. So I don't think that's the way to do it. I don't think playing the zone is how you beat Denver. I just don't know if Miami is going to be able to score enough. Um, I'm gonna go with Denver. I'm gonna pick Denver. Um, I would agree with Denver in 6. I almost want to go Denver in 7. Um, but I could agree in 6. I think that, like you said, too much Jokic. Um, how much energy is Jimmy Butler going to exert on both ends of the floor because he's going to have to D up Jamal Murray. He's going to have to. There'll be other guys, Caleb Martin and some Gabe Vincent and these guys that get a shot at him too. But Jimmy Butler's going to try that responsibility for the most part. Um, but I just think that it's too much. I think Jokic is too much. I think it's too much scoring for Denver, and I'm picking Denver. I'll pick Denver in 6. I think they could win in 7. It could go 7, but I'll go Denver in 6.
Jokic, Finals MVP, probably.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
I'm going with Jokic. Jokic Finals MVP. Um,
to make up
Jokic,
for the
yeah,
MVP
Jokic
he should
Finals
have had in the
MVP.
regular season. Yeah, to make up
I
for the.
disagree with that. I dis
Oh,
I dis I
well,
disagree with that. I think Joel earned that one, man. If anything, if anything, if he didn't win it this year, he should have won it last year, in my opinion. But I think
I,
he earned that one this year. We disagree on that one.
Cause honestly, cause now that part I agree with you. I think he had a better case last year than he did this year. Like as
Yeah.
far as Embiid, I think he had a better case last year than he did this year. Cause I don't know, but I think a little voters fatigue got into it, man. But I understand, it probably wouldn't look right having Jokic up there as a 3-time MVP with some of the names of the other whatever they want, however they want to do it, man. But it is
Three
what it
straight.
is. But yeah, it is what it is though. But all in all, man, I think it's gonna be a great series.
Yeah.
I like I said, I think Denver is too much, but I can't see them sweeping, let alone
Nah, I
not
don't see
even
that.
doing a gentleman sweep. I don't think that they can even get them at 5. Miami is good enough to push them to at least 6, and I'm right there with you. I wouldn't be shocked if it went 7.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be shocked if it went 7, just because I just know the way Coach Spo coached them boys up, and just the way that they just not gonna give up, because a lot of those guys are undrafted players, former
Hmm.
G leaguers, or been bounced around on multiple teams, and we're gonna have a conversation about that, about Michael Jordan as an owner one day, man. We're gonna have a conversation about that. He done let a lot of good players go from Charlotte, but we're
And
gonna have a conversation about that
who you
one
talking
day,
about,
man.
man? who you
Um,
who you
you
talking about in
know.
particular? What player you talking about?
And you say the one who just got off in Game 7, Caleb Martin. That's one to name a few, man. Like that's a whole another episode. I ain't
Yeah,
even gonna
yeah.
start with that, bro.
All
I ain't
right.
even a Charlotte fan. It's just the
Yeah,
fact
yeah,
that he
yeah.
done had so many folks.
It's all good. It's okay. Yeah. We can talk about that later.
For sure, for sure, man.
We can talk about
One
that
quick
later.
note, before we go wrap it up, man. Now obviously now a coaching vacancy in the NBA has now been filled.
Hmm.
Which we figured the coaches who got relieved of their duties were all gonna find jobs again, and this is just the start. Of course, Nick Nurse was let go of in Toronto, and now he
Hmm.
stays. He stays in the Eastern Conference and actually stays in the same division, and just goes down southeast. You can say down to Philly. Now the new coach for the Philadelphia 76ers.
Hmm.
Um, I guess real quick on that, how you feel about that hire? I'm cool with it. I think he'll be a good coach down there for Philly.
Yeah, I like the pickup. I like what he'll bring to Philly. Um, Obviously a proven coach. He's won an NBA championship before. He's been to the finals, been there, done that, won it. Um, think it was just time for. Well, I don't, I don't, I don't think Doc should have lost his job, but it's neither here nor there. Um, but it might have been time for a new voice in Philly. I think Nick Nurse, how you say, there's too many good coaches that got let go. Um, to not have a job. I think out of the guys that lost their job, I think he's the right fit for Philly. I don't think Monty Williams would have been a good fit um, in Philly. Um, I think Nick Nurse is the guy. So I'm not mad at the hire at all. I think he'll be fine. I think he'll work out. Philly will be good again. Um, their big thing is, can they get past Boston? Can they get to the Eastern Conference Finals? Can they get past the Boston, or can they get past the Milwaukee, or can they get past the Miami Heat? Like that's going to be their thing. But I have no problem with the hire.
Yeah, same here. No problem with it. I mean, interesting to see what happens with James Harden. I guess
Yeah,
that may have a little something to do with a lot of things too. But you know, I don't I don't think that's a Nick Nurse type of guy. So
you think he might be out of there?
maybe I don't know. But who's gonna want to give him 200 mil, bro?
You know what? He wouldn't mind going back. You know he wouldn't
Him
mind
and
going back to
yeah,
the H
him and
to
Udoka
H
might make
town.
a him and Udoka might make a good little pair. They just gotta
You know
stay out of
what?
trouble.
I'm
They
not. You
just
know what? I'm not. I'm not. I heard it in your voice.
they just gotta stay
I'm
out of
not
trouble,
going.
man.
I'm not going there. I'm not going there with you.
uh
I'm not. You
man.
know what? James Harden to stay in Philly, bro. Don't go back to Houston.
Hey, stay in hey. Do
Don't
what
go
you
back to
wanna do,
Houston.
man. Hey, if they gonna pay you
Man,
200 mil, go ahead, man. They gonna pay you 200 mil, go ahead. I mean, I would
just
stay in Philly, but
just don't be hanging out with your coach, man.
oh man.
That's a yeah. I don't. Yeah, that's a whole other thing
We
too.
gonna
I
go.
don't
We
think he
gonna
probably
yeah.
should
We
have.
go.
Yeah, just yeah.
yeah. Mess around. Mess around. Hey man, I seen Coach Udoka in Grooves.
No, you didn't.
oh man, no, he did. Nah,
Nah,
but he was at the
nah.
address.
Yeah, I'm about to say, nah. I
oh
ain't see
dude.
him nowhere. You got
Dude.
ESPN reporting that they seen Ime Udoka and James Harden in the section together with Lil Baby
Tough.
kicking it.
Tough. Mm.
Yeah,
Man,
nah.
man, man.
I don't know, man. We'll say that's what I was gonna ask though. I was gonna ask you do you think James had a hand in picking Nick Nurse, like as the coach? You think he had a role in that? I would imagine that Joel Embiid was consulted and the front office talked to him about Nick Nurse getting hired. But I wonder if James Harden was pulled into that because I would imagine that they would want James Harden to be a part of the 76ers organization for the next season. If he doesn't, then that's a decision that he makes. But I would imagine that they might have consulted him. Do you think that he had a hand in maybe helping with that decision and picking Nick Nurse?
man, that's a good question. I'm really not sure because I'm right there. I know, like you said, I know for a fact they probably for sure went to Embiid and probably
Yeah.
asked him, how did he feel about this if he was good with Nick Nurse for it. And I'm pretty sure he had a little say so in it. It's hard to say if maybe if Harden did or not. I would hope if they want to try to keep him there that he
Mm-hmm.
did. If they want to try to keep him there, I would hope that James had some type of say so in that too, or probably said, "Well, what about Nick?"
Mm-hmm.
Woo the woo. So I'm hoping that he did just for the sake of if they want to make that a priority to make sure that they keep James in Philly. I mean, that would have been probably the best thing to do to make sure that he had a say so, or at least was aware of the hire and everything like that. So yeah, I'm not sure, but maybe not.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah,
We'll see, man. We'll see what he ends up doing, man. If he wants to win or if he wants to. I mean, I ain't telling him, man. I ain't counting his pocket, so I ain't telling
yeah,
you to
nah,
turn down 200 mil. But
right.
you know, it is. It is what it is. So we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah, because I mean, what probably once the finals get done, whenever that be, which would be sometime here in June. I guess that next month is what probably towards the end of June, going into July is when the free agency will start kicking in for the NBA. So
Yeah.
you know how they get for the summer. So we'll see
Wild
how that
Wild
goes.
West.
Yeah, but I say we'll know here within the next month and a half or so what if he had to say so or not, and and
Yeah.
everything like that for sure. We'll definitely know. We'll definitely know by then. Man, it's been another great episode, man. So get ready here wrapping up. Man, you got any words for the people? Anything you want to say?
Continue to stay safe, stay healthy, continue to um, tell your friends and family that you love them, talk with them, talk to them, and everything. One thing that I heard watching Pivot Pivot podcast. Shout out to the Pivot podcast.
For
And
sure.
Fred Taylor was talking about celebrating your small wins. And that kind of resonated with me. That's something that I struggle with. Um, you're always looking, you have your goals in place and what you want to do and where you want to be. And sometimes look, you don't pay attention to the small goals, the small W's, because you're so fixated on the big, the big goal or whatever the end goal is. Um, and so I just want to encourage people, and this is once again me talking to myself too, to celebrate the small wins, celebrate the wins along the journey, celebrate those small goals. Because if you look back 6 months ago, a year ago, you're in a whole different situation, a whole different spot than you are right now. And what that looked like and those steps it took you to get to where you are now, on the way to your end goal, whatever that might be in your job or your business or whatever it is. So, find time, man, to really slow down and celebrate and acknowledge those small wins on the way to your big goals. Obviously, um, I'm blessed to be able to do another episode of this. Then we're gonna have a great NBA Finals coming up this year. I think this is going to be, like you said in the open, Sanders. I think this is going to be a pure basketball matchup. Styles make fights. I don't think there's going to be a lot of. There'll be some competitive chippiness and things like that as the series wanes, but the whole there's not going to be a lot of extra hoopla. There's going to be two teams, two good basketball teams playing against each other. We get to see who's the best one. So I'm excited for this series and excited to do another episode and talk after game one.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. Same for me here. Really, just the same things, man. Just for sure, always be safe out here, man. Protect yourselves. Always check in on your loved ones for sure. Uh, man, I guess the one message I really got for people is to just you say celebrate the small wins, and I just say always find your balance, man. Sometimes we get so inept and so just grained into the grind, and sometimes it's okay to get you a little R&R, man, a little PTO to yourself. You know what I'm saying, a little
Mm-hmm.
time off or anything, or just to enjoy whatever you can, man. Just kind of find that balance. Uh, don't want to get too worked up to where when you do make it to that point that you don't have nobody to celebrate with, or you can't
Mm-hmm.
celebrate those moments with friends, family, things of that nature, man. So just for sure, man, just find your balance. Definitely always a pleasure to do another one of these episodes, man. Y'all keep listening to the podcast, man. Like it, subscribe it on the YouTube page, man. Follow us on the Instagram, on the Twitter. Uh, man, as y'all see, we do get active on that thing, man. Don't we there? Trust me. When we on
Yeah,
there, we on there. So,
yeah, yeah.
we love it. We love it, man. Continue to support, man. Tell everybody about the podcast. Keep listening to it wherever that you're listening from. Um, Man, I really don't have anything else far as far as promoting what the podcast goes. Uh, as always, man, love black women, cherish black women, protect black women. Uh, no means no.
No means no.
You know what I'm saying? I guess you can say after it's not officially summer, but usually Memorial Day after that happens, that kind of kicks off summer, man. So pool parties and all the little
Mm-hmm.
shindigs and everything like that, um and all that stuff, man. But I always still make sure them I's is dotted, them T's is crossed, man, for sure. We
Yeah.
gotta protect everybody out here. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So, um, man, that's really all I gotta say on that. Uh, like I said, we'll just stay tuned, y'all. Get ready, man. Get ready for these NBA finals. It's gonna be a good one. Uh, hey, can't wait. Like I said, yeah, we might, do some things where we'll come chime in after a game or two or something like that for sure as we go along, man. Just prepare and buckle up, man. It's gonna be an exciting time and exciting finals, man, for sure. So,
No doubt.
y'all stay ready, man. Nuggets and six. Um, till the next time, man. This has been another episode of the Easy Money Sports Podcast.